All right.
Well, welcome everyone to the third conversation of the What I Wish I Knew Life After HSPVA series, where we have conversations with HSPVA alums about their post-PVA experience and how their time at HSPVA influenced who they are today. And I am joined by Judith Franklin, vocal class of 1997, Clark Atlanta University graduate, original Broadway cast member of Tina, and accomplished dancer, actress, and vocalist. Welcome to this conversation, and thank you so much for spending a little time with me today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This is
So
exciting.
if you've seen some of our previous conversations, we like to start it off with a little game. It's called Up to 10, where you have 60 seconds to answer up to 10 PVA-related questions. And at the end of this season, at the end, we're going to crown a winner of the game, and whoever gets the most points wins. So the current highest score is 8 answers. So no pressure.
Oh my gosh. And when did they graduate?
2015. So it was a little fresher on the brain.
Okay.
But let me know when you're ready, and then I will start the timer and we will get started.
Oh my gosh. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Who was the principal of HSPVA when you attended?
Oh, that's so bad. I don't remember.
Pass. What are the school colors?
Black, red, and white.
Red and gray. Name 2 famous alumni.
Alumni. Okay. Robert Glasper. I think he's famous. I guess Brian Cox. Famous.
Yeah. Name 2 shows, recitals, or showcases that you did at PVA.
Oh, my senior recital.
Mm-hmm.
And I did oh my gosh. It was oh my gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's the one that I want to say so bad. I'll just say a happening.
Okay. Name 5 of your high school friends.
Aw. Erica, Sarita. I'm over.
But still, for the sake of the recording, you can name your 5 high school friends.
Oh, my friends. I would say Erica was one of my really close friends. Sarita. I would say back then, Robert Glasper, Brian, and then I guess Vermeil was one of my close friends. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we got 2. Oh wait, actually,
what were the other questions?
Yes, you got 2.
I'm interested to know.
You want to know what the questions are? Okay, so 5 of your high school friends. Name 3 art area or academic teachers that you had. What day were happenings on? Make it a great day or fill in the blank. Perfect place to hide at the old PVA on Stanford. And what month does Spaghetti Supper take place?
Oh, girl, I don't know. I remember Spaghetti Supper. But okay.
October, yes. And now it's called Music Fest. Well, it was originally called Music Fest, apparently. So yeah, they just went back to the basics. But yes, so since we're already got, thinking of HSPVA, when you think of the name, when you think of the school, what are some things that immediately come to mind?
Ooh, freedom, expression, wonder, family. I would say, I think I said expression. Oh, nostalgia, just, art. So many different things. Growth.
So tell us a little bit about your PVA experience. What were you involved in? What shows did you do, if any?
Oh my gosh, you're taking me way back. I should really talk more about this. My PVA experience. So I don't remember my audition. I feel like I remember a moment that was new to me. I came in as a dance major my freshman year at PVA. And I remember there's this vision in my head of me like in the locker room getting dressed. I don't know if it was like the first day of school, but I kind of remember that newness of that moment, but I don't remember my audition at
Yeah.
all. Yay. It was a while ago. And yeah, so I came in as a dance major. I remember Miss Carter was one of my dance teachers. Oh my gosh, I should have looked back through my yearbook before. I don't have it with me, but yeah, I remember just going to our elective for basically like
Hmm.
half of the day,
Yeah.
and that was a lot of fun to me because I love performing and I love training and growing and learning. So
Mhm.
that process to me is always fun. And it was exciting because I had grown up performing all my life. I started dancing at the age of 2, but I had never
Wow.
been in an environment where you rehearsed for that long, you know,
Every
each
day.
day, every day. So
Yeah.
I loved it. And I love the community of the school because it was so small. I remember I didn't initially, I wanted to go to Lamar High School
Mm.
because my friends were going there. And my mom was like, no, she insisted that I go to PBA. And I'm glad that she did because I think
Mm.
it's a once in a lifetime type experience that most people don't have to go to this school full of artists and
Right.
people that are super talented too in their art form. Like you're handpicked because there were only 600 students in the entire school. So
Hmm.
I think that's pretty cool. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I mean, I'm not afraid to say it. We're some special people, you know?
We are very
So
special people.
we're some
Once
special,
someone said, our lens is different. We see things differently. We
yeah,
experience things differently.
we
So
experience things
yeah.
differently. And just to be around, I don't know, I remember walking down those hallways, the black and white checkered floor,
Hmm.
how free it was. It just seemed like I didn't even miss sports, honestly, because I've never really been into sports. And I
Yeah.
knew other high schools that had their sports teams. And I don't even remember really going to any of that stuff, honestly. But I just loved performing. I loved how the teachers encouraged us and groomed us and
Hmm.
disciplined us
Yes.
and prepared us for the future. Yeah, it was great. I love the practice rooms. I still remember those.
The notorious practice rooms.
The practice room.
They're
I
so
love it.
nice at the new school. I'm just like, y'all don't even know. Y'all don't
Oh
even
my
know.
gosh. Yes. I haven't been able to make it to the new school, but I went to um, PVA before they moved to the new school. I think at the top of 2018. Yeah, it was at the top
Hmm.
of 20. So I got to see it. And I saw Miss Bonner once more. Mr.
The
Seibel was
queen,
there. The
the
queen, Miss Bonner,
icon.
the living legend.
Yes.
So those are the things that I think about, like a lot of laughs.
Hmm.
Um, I remember those happenings. Those were so much fun performing there in the Commons area.
Right.
Um, yeah, those are all the things that I really remember about PVA. And then I transferred to vocal my
Hmm.
junior and senior year. So I kind of had the best of both worlds. I was
Yeah.
there, yeah, 2 years dance, 2 years vocal. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So fast forward to post 1997, you've graduated, you've gone to Atlanta, New York, you're traveling the world. What are some real world moments that in lessons that you learned that you definitely weren't thinking about in high school and you really just had to experience it to understand it and to get through it?
I think networking is something that I really didn't think about. And honestly, when I was in college, the word networking to me was kind of intimidating because
Yeah.
sometimes when you think about networking, you think about, oh, let me connect with this person or that person, or I got to back then get this person's card.
Yes.
Or, people don't give cards really anymore. But um, just thinking about how you can introduce yourself to somebody, I guess, that has influence. But really, networking is just about relationships. And
Exactly.
discover that, the older you get, or if you're fortunate enough to have somebody teach you about that when you're younger. I think that's an important skill to have. And it's basically just developing relationships with people that you work with, and typically I've found that some of the projects that I've worked on, it's usually through like referral, because,
Mm,
also attitude and your reputation. Um, when you're building these relationships, there's so many talented people out there. And yes, we all bring something to the table and we're all unique, authentic, that's our power, just you being you, walking in that
yeah,
power. But you want to make sure that you have a great attitude, because like I said, there's so many talented people, and I would rather work with someone with a better attitude that may not be on the level that you're on yet, but because you have a sour attitude, a bad attitude,
yeah,
we're doing what we love, and so why bring drama or negativity, into that space? We're fortunate because
exactly.
we don't know, being an artist is not the easiest career path.
Right.
So
Right. And team player
when you're
attitude is a
fortunate,
big part of that. Yeah.
it's a big part of that. So when you're fortunate enough to have an opportunity, just make sure you remember your why you're doing it, and that you're privileged to have that opportunity. So I think that networking is something that everyone should try to practice, and
Hmm.
don't let your nerves get in the way. Just be you, you
Mm,
know, just be you.
yeah.
Um, Another thing, investing.
Oh,
Oh my
let's talk
gosh.
about that.
Oh my goodness. Um, yeah. So, you know, another artist that I know, she had a platform called the Non-Starving Artist a few
Mm.
years back, named Brittany Inge. And well, she's on Boomerang now, so she doesn't have time, I don't think, to, work that blog anymore. But
Yeah,
she basically said that no one should be really a starving artist anymore. There are so many different ways to either create or put yourself out there, or find ways to you have to have more than one stream of income these days. And especially as an artist, you have to find ways to sustain yourself. But while you're doing that, the years are going by. Time never stops. So
exactly.
you need to make sure that you're learning about your finances and how you can set yourself up in the future, so that you don't look back. Because a lot of times with the jobs that we work, or the gigs that we work, it may be just a gig, and it may not pay
Sustaining.
into,
Yeah.
right, pay into a 401k or those type of investment accounts. So I would say, speak with a financial advisor, or read up on it. Whatever you need to do, figure out a way to set yourself up so that in the future you're sitting pretty.
Yes.
Because it's so important. You don't want to have to rely on booking the next show or booking the next gig to make money. You want to
Yeah.
work harder, not harder. So
Work smarter, not harder. And I think this time has shown us,
mhm,
especially how important that is.
how important it is.
Um, it's just nothing is ever promised. And nobody was sitting thinking, next
And
week, this is going to be shut down, or there won't be, no one could have predicted anything like this.
for a
And
whole
so,
year,
for a whole year. So what you're
basically.
saying is so important, to be always thinking about that next step, thinking ahead. Yes, it's
Thinking
great to live in the moment, but bills don't live in the moment. They live
those don't
month
live
to
in the
month.
moment. Be present by all means, because that's something that I've had to work on. Because
Hmm.
as soon as I book a job, I'm always like, okay, so what's next? And I remember I did that when I booked my first Broadway show, and I was like, okay, you need to calm down. But
Yeah.
you have to plan, because if you don't, you look up and like, you just never know. My first Broadway show, there wasn't a pandemic, but I joined the cast later on in the run, and then the show closed. So
Mm,
I was only in there for 4 or 5 months.
yeah.
So nothing is really guaranteed.
Mm,
So try to set yourself up as early as you can.
great. That's great advice. So on the flip side, can you think of anything that you learned while at PVA that really stuck with you, and
Yeah.
really developed you as an artist and as a person, as a professional? Um,
Yeah. I think respecting your craft and then picking up on things quickly, because you're working that muscle, especially like I don't really sight read anymore, but back then, you're constantly working a muscle. So you should always be training,
mhm.
so that you don't fall short. Like, say, for instance, I'm a strong mover now. I don't really dance anymore. You won't really
I
catch.
am in the ministry of strong moving, so I understand.
So for me, you won't catch me going into, I'm going to go to a vocal call before I go
Hmm.
to a dance call. And then if
Yeah.
they need to see me dance, then I can dance. But I'm not going to go to a dance call first. And I did that. Was that last year? Well, they told me it was a strong mover call, but it wasn't. So those those muscles. I think that PBA definitely instills discipline in you,
Hmm.
respecting your craft. Um, and it just, yeah, it really does prepare you because listening skills, I've been in some environments where people are just talking and they're not
Yeah.
respecting the authority in the room. And it's like, you guys, shh. you know, it, I don't ever remember that at PBA. I don't remember them having to always tell us, shh, okay, everybody be quiet. Okay, everybody.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that from when I was there. And then so sometimes when you go to other environments and it's like, wow, okay, PVA, we were very professional.
That's the standard. Yeah. Yeah.
we were already a step ahead. And so yeah, I would say discipline. I say also being free to express yourself as an
Hmm.
artist, not feeling like bound, just I guess the freedom to explore who you are and being in confidence, a
Yeah.
lot of confidence, like the senior recitals. By the time you're graduating, you should know what you're doing at PVA, and you get up there and you stand on that stage and you
Hmm.
show, what you've been working on all of these years and how you've blossomed and bloomed. And I feel like
Right.
as an adult and as an artist, we continue to do that in real life. Like every year, we're continuing to learn, because there's no right way. Everybody's There's no right way. Like I can't tell anybody this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to
Hmm.
do. There are a few things that I think everyone should do as far as studying your craft, being respectful, having a great attitude, etc. But everybody's journey is different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think those are the things that PBA really instilled in us.
Great. Okay. Well, we're gonna move on to some submitted questions, and
Okay.
the first one is, how did your experience as a person of color at HSPVA influence the way that you navigate your career in today's climate?
Hmm. Well, I feel like at PVA, there was, I feel like there was representation there in
Hmm.
each department for the most part. Definitely, yeah, in theater, I know, I went theater. In music, we all know Miss
Yeah,
Bonner is like Miss, she is PVA.
she
Um,
is.
yeah, and her, she was one of the major influences, I think, for me. And when you navigate out into the real world, especially as a Black woman, she always held herself to the highest. You know what
And
I mean?
you better catch up if you ain't there. Like that is, yeah.
Exactly. You better catch up
Yeah.
if you ain't there. And she expected a lot out of us. And so when you see a Black woman, working in excellence, then it's like she expects the same of you. And so when
Hmm.
you go out into the world, that's what you're used to. And so you, act in the same fashion because you realize, oh, this woman, she was my representation. So for me, I need to represent for those coming after me. So yeah, I
Yeah, I
think
think a
that.
lot of us, we make fun of the Bonnerisms, but I think, you know, her even saying, you know, don't crass and ill bread and, you know, why are you in your boudoir and all of this other stuff. But it really was presentation. Present yourself in the best light in the best way. And you know, they can't talk about that. They may be able to talk about other
Right.
stuff, but not the way that you present yourself. And that is
Yeah.
I always go back to that when I think of representation at PVA because she literally embodied the school
Mhm.
and was there from day one.
Day one. And she was so dedicated. Like, whatever needed to be done, she was going to make sure it was done. And
Mm-hmm.
she wanted it to be done right. And
Right.
I respect that and appreciate that. And it's funny because when I was little things that probably wouldn't irritate other people that didn't come from that type of learning environment bothered me. I remember once
Mm.
when I was at Clark Atlanta and I was in the Philharmonic Society, and my professor, Mr. Halsey, he's passed on now, rest in peace. He pulled me to the side one day and he was just like, I can see every you wear your emotions on your face, because he would have to repeat himself. I was a freshman. He would have to repeat himself at least 3 times. And
Mm.
it used to bother me because I wasn't used to that. It's like we need to be told one time and we can move on. But at
Yeah.
PVA, because that's how it was there, we respected the authority. And I'm not saying that they didn't, but I was just used to a different way of doing things.
Right.
They tell us what's going on, we listen, and then we keep it moving. I was just like, why do we have to repeat this over and over again? And you know?
No, yeah, I think that we need to have like everybody who's graduated from PVA, tell us how your first year went and how your experience was transitioning, because I think that that's a very real experience for a lot of people. Because,
Yeah,
you
I remember
know, yeah,
specifically. And because he talked to me about it, and I said, well, I just don't think that you should have to repeat yourself over and over again. And I guess I'm just not used to that. So, yeah.
my lens is different. I don't
Yeah.
understand. I don't get it. No, totally. Okay, we're going to move on to the next question. So, was there a pivotal moment that changed the direction or trajectory of your career?
Hmm. Well, I, hmm, that's a great question. So I guess speak on two moments,
Okay.
because after I graduated from Clark Atlanta, I didn't go straight into performing. I was
Mm-hmm.
working in the real world, and I was
Yeah.
working as in the bank, like as a teller, and then eventually I started working in leasing, property management, and
Mm.
after a while, I was just miserable because I was like, "Ugh, this is not really um, what I'm made for." Now,
Right.
I love real estate. That's something that I'm really, really interested in. But I knew that I was put on this earth to also perform. So it's just in me. And so
Mhm.
I remember at one moment I was just so miserable. And it just so happened that I was working at a new company, and I kind of transitioned back into performing again. I got into wedding bands, and so that
Okay.
is what kind of like pulled me back into performing. One of my managers was leaving a band, and it was a talent show. That's what it was. We were having a talent
Mhm.
show for our company, and I decided to sing in a talent show. And she asked me if I wanted to take her place in the band, and I don't think she had even heard me sing yet. And she's
Mm.
everything just unraveled, and then that's how I started performing again. um yeah, and then years later, I remember the next pivotal moment was when I was performing on a cruise ship. And I remember it was one of my very first weeks on the ship, And I was like, oh, this is so much fun. Because in between that time that I had started performing again, leading up to working on the cruise ship, so many things happened in life. And I think I had started acting again as well. I had done a few like commercials in Georgia and some voiceover for radio. But then when I was on the cruise ship, I started really feeling like, oh my gosh, I want to pursue Broadway. And I
Mm.
remember after one of my shows, somebody came back to the dressing room and they were like, hey, one of the guests wanted to meet you. And then I said, okay. So I went out and I met her and she said, you know, you need to be on Broadway, right? And I was like, you know, I've been thinking about that. And I remember
Mm.
her name was Kathy Felgren. And that's when I was like, okay, when I finish my cruise ship experience, I'm going to pursue that. And that's what I did. I came back to Atlanta and started building my resume, musical theater resume in 2013. And my first national tour was 2015 with Motown, the musical.
Wow.
That is not true. It was 2017. We started rehearsing the end of 2016, and 2017 was when we went out on tour. Yes,
Wow.
that's it.
So I
So
guess
yeah,
that's definitely a testament to timing and that everything
yeah,
happens when it's supposed to happen in its own
hmm
timing. And like you said previously, no one's career or trajectory is the same. There might be a couple, maybe do this, maybe do that, but there's no cookie cutter way of getting to the creme de la creme, which is Broadway or whatever pathway someone may take.
yeah. There's no, because there are some people that go straight to Broadway. One of the guys in my show, my last show, I think right out of college, he went straight to Broadway, and he's done 3 Broadway shows since. So
Mm.
everybody's story is different.
It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, last question. What
Okay.
advice would you give to someone starting out on their journey who wants to get to Broadway and wants to be a performer full time
Is this just specific to PVA or just anyone?
in general?
In general, don't start this journey unless you are passionate about
Mm.
what you are doing, because it is not easy. Just I just want to reiterate that. Do not start this journey of
Yeah.
pursuing Broadway or anything in the arts that doesn't provide you know consistent or financial stability, because on this journey you will be told no, probably more than yes. You will feel like you want to give up sometimes. um, you're going to have to juggle a lot. You know, when they say grind,
Hmm.
hustle, that's what they're talking about. You're going to have to
Yeah.
balance between paying your bills and pursuing your passion, and still, training and making sure you take care of yourself, building yourself up, um, making sure you're in the right mental space, eating right. I mean, just a lot of self care. So
Hmm.
just make sure that this is where your heart really is and it's what you really want to do. Know yourself. And if you start and you discover that it isn't, that's okay, because you have
Mm.
one life, and live your life. Make sure that you do what makes you happy. So,
Yeah. Oh, yes. That's preaching to me. Okay.
what?
I love
I
that.
can keep going too. I can keep going. There's
Look,
so
we
much.
have time, but no, I think that, we part of this series and part of the conversations that we're having is going in those different industries, knowing that we have that connector of PVA, but also
Mhm.
seeking that advice and seeking that knowledge from people who have done it and who are currently doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
And then also, these days, I mean, you have the internet, there you have so much access. So create your own
Hmm.
content and put it out there. It's better than sitting around saying, criticizing what you do. Put something out there or have
Hmm.
some sort of presence. That doesn't mean you have to, some people want to be Instagram or social media influencers. That's not for everybody, but at least have something, because you never know who might see it,
Hmm.
and what type of reach it may have. So and then you never know how it might inspire somebody else. Um,
Right.
yeah, there's just so much that I could say, but investing, networking, and making sure this is truly what makes you happy in the path that you want to take, and not being afraid to change it if
It's
you decide
not.
it's not. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know. And if you are, for instance, there are some people who start off as performers and then they transition to, I don't know, directors, stage managers, more behind the scenes. There's so many other career paths that you can take, in the arts or in entertainment. So, yeah, you can always make a new decision anytime.
Anytime. Yes. Well, uh also want to ask you what you're up to. What things that we can look out for in the future?
Well, so right now I'm resting, but also I just had my first feature film. I have like a little cameo in it. It came out on HBO Max on Thanksgiving Day. It's called Super Intelligence, starring Melissa McCarthy. So I have like a little my first little feature film with my lines. I'm not
Yay!
singing. I have lines. So and it's at the beginning of the movie, so you can see me and say, "Oh, okay, I saw you, girl." So yeah, that, and I've been writing throughout, this quarantine space, and
Yeah.
yeah, and like I said, also this is something I had actually decided on before the pandemic hit. I was like in between my shows, in New York, something that I've always want to do is get my real estate license. So
Mhm.
I've, studied my course and completed that as well. So just to make
Congrats
sure
on that. Yes.
you, that we're set in the in between, in the meantime.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, I have no more questions, but I'm so happy that we were able to meet and connect, and I'm so happy to
I
have you
know.
here today. For everyone else that will be tuned in, we have another round of conversations that will be happening in 2021. You can find this on our Instagram Live page and on our YouTube page. And you can follow Judith. Do you want to give your Instagram handle or social
Sure.
media website?
It's Judith Franklin, and my website is judithfranklin.com.
Perfect. Okay, thank you everyone for tuning in, and everyone be safe.
All right. Thank you.